Krampus. Krampus is the new Christmas holiday horror comedy type film that's directed by the same guy that did Trick or Treat, which is a pretty good Halloween type horror movie that really stuck with the holiday for it. And in this, he's also taking the tropes of Christmas and making it into a gremlin horror comedy type film. Krampus is a German folklore where he's the shadow of St. Nicholas. He's the shadow of St. Nicholas in all ways, meaning that when Santa gives presents to good kids, Krampus gives bad things to naughty kids. What are those bad things? Well, he'll murder your entire family and... Now, my brother's a really big fan of European culture and traditions, and he really likes Krampus, and when he found out that this trailer was coming out, he was really excited for it, and that actually got me pretty pumped for it, and after seeing the trailer, I was actually pretty intrigued, mainly for Adam Scott, because I'm a big fan of Parks and Rec, and I like seeing him transitioning over to the big screen. So a little boy in this decides that he does not want to believe in Christmas anymore, and he kind of gives up on it, and once he does that, a big storm arrives, and so does Krampus. The introduction of this movie was actually really strong. It did a comedy introduction where it was showing a Black Friday sale in slow motion and all the chaotic aspects of it. There's kids crying on Santa's lap and nothing really looks like it should. It's the stuff that we're familiar with, but at the same time, it's a little off. There's something a little weird about it. But after that point, for the first and second half of the movie, I really just wasn't enjoying myself that much. Krampus kind of feels like Christmas Vacation if a psychotic murderer just kind of kept them in the house and then just started going crazy. Although I did like some of the performances, like Adam Scott, and the actress that plays his wife also did a pretty good job. I freaking hate this actor, Champ Kind. He was good in Anchorman and Anchorman 2, and I'm going to call him Champ Kind because that's the way I know him. He plays a part that really he never changes from in every movie. He's always the same character, kind of an asshole, and just kind of is always there being clueless and ridiculous. I'm not a fan of him. I don't think he's very funny at all, and all of the jokes that were in this just didn't hit for me. There were a lot of humor and comedic parts in this movie, but they didn't hit for me, and there's a lot of horror aspects in it that were really disturbing at some points towards the third act, but in the end, it still didn't hit me as hard as I would have liked it to. Now, as far as the effects of this movie, this has a lot of practical effects used, and I commend them on that because I love practical effects. If you guys haven't seen John Carpenter's The Thing, it is terrifying, and it's all practical effects, and this kind of has a lot of practical effects like that movie. The scares just didn't land as much. There's a couple special effects moments with CGI that were a little cheap looking, and I'd wish that they just went practical for everything, but it was still a pretty good thing to see with all of these big monsters, and there's just something more realistic to me about a practical effect than a special effect. Another big issue with the movie is Krampus. He's not really in the movie that much. He's introduced for a little part of it at the beginning, and the rest of it is just kind of his henchmen going along and causing chaos. When he does show up, however, he's freaky. The ending kind of leaves off in a cliched type ending, but, you know, it wasn't the worst movie in the world. It's definitely not one that I would recommend for, like, your Christmas movie every year, but it was a decent watch. If you're okay with some of the cliche, cheesy moments of a horror movie, if you just want to go to a theater and enjoy a fun Christmas comedy horror film, you might enjoy yourself with this. For me, it just didn't hit where I wanted it to. It wasn't exactly what I was hoping, and it didn't give me the comedy horror aspect ratio that I wanted, and it didn't land as far as both of those combining. So for Krampus, I'm going to give it a 5.5 out of 10. So guys, tell me what you thought about Krampus. Whatever you thought, please leave your comments down below. Make sure you thumbs up this video if you want to see more. Guys, I will see you at the next review.